Lesson 2.3, Graphing Equations of a Line. A parent function is the simplest form of a type of function. So in today's lesson, using slope-intercept, the parent function is f of x equals x. Making comparisons using parent functions will help you understand the characteristics of each family. When we study quadratic equations, for example, the parent function will look different compared to that of the linear function that we're examining today. You're asked to compare y equals 3x with y equals x, and y equals x is the simplest form of a linear equation. So we are going to graph both of these equations and then look to see what they have in common and what might be different about these. Okay, so we're comparing the blue line with the black line. And remember, you're trying to figure out what they have in common and how these two lines are different. So maybe you noticed that both of the lines have a y-intercept that is equal to 0. That's where it intersects the y-axis. And the blue line has a slope of 3, whereas the black line has a slope of 1. And whoop, I should put in, this is where they intersect at the 0. Okay, one more. So on the right-hand side, we're going to compare y equals x plus 3 with y equals x, and again, y equals x is the simplest form. So I'm going to go ahead and graph these two equations. So what do these two lines have in common, and how are these two lines different? Get an idea. And maybe you're noticing that the y-intercept of one of them is 0, while the y-intercept of the green line is 3. But they have the same slope. They're parallel lines. So we can graph linear equations using a table of values or by identifying the y-intercept and the slope. So that's what we're going to do now. So remember to solve for y, that means you're isolating it, thus putting your equation in slope-intercept form. So the first thing we're going to have to do is add 3 to both sides. So now we have y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. 3 is our y-intercept, and the negative 1/2 will be our slope. Remember, rise over run. So the negative 1 is up and down, and the 2 means we're going left to right. So we're going to start by plotting the 3 on my y-axis. Then from there, we have one negative, so we can go down 1 and over a positive 2, or we can do it where we go up 1 and then go over negative 2. So only one of my directions would be in the negative direction, and then we're going to draw a line through our points. So I labeled the line with my equation, and you'll notice that you include arrows on either end of the line to show that it extends in both directions to infinity. The standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c. To graph in this form, you identify the x-intercept by making the y equal to 0 and solving for x, and then plotting the x-intercept. Next, you're going to identify the y-intercept by making x equal to 0 and solving for y. Plot the y-intercept and connect the 2 points. So if you're given negative 2y equals 8 minus 4x, we're going to need to write this equation in standard form. So we'll have to add 4x to both sides. (4x minus 2y equals 8). And you can see that it is now in standard form. Next, you'll determine the x-intercept by making the y equal to 0 and solving for x. So you can see we made the y equal to 0 and we solved for x. We plotted the 2, 0 on the x-axis, and now we're going to be doing the same thing for y by making x equal to 0. Okay, so I made x equal to 0. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2, so y equals negative 4. So on the y-axis, we're going to plot our point, and we have 0, negative 4, and we're going to connect our 2 points. Last slide. So note the graph in the form y equals c is going to be horizontal, and the graph in the form x equals c will be vertical. So for example, if I had y equals negative 2 on the y-axis, I would go down to negative 2 and draw my horizontal line. So this is y equals negative 2. If I had x equals 5, then I would draw a vertical line on the x-axis through 5. And if we looked at ordered pairs, we'd end up with 5, 4. Here we have 5, 0. Here we have 5, 2. So the x value will always be 5, and when we're dealing with y equals negative 2, the y value will always be negative 2.